So here we are. I want to give you an overview of my new WVO system I installed. Let's start with the plumbing. Right here we have a VegMax 2 here with the filter, the Raycor filter, and then down here is the actual heater exchange. I've spliced into the coolant. Again, you probably won't be able to see that too well, but basically I've spliced into the coolant. Comes into here, comes in there, heats the VegMax. I've also got a heated fuel line. It's a temp sender. But in a nutshell, we have 3 relays. One for the injection line heaters, which are right there. One for the VegTherm, which is right here. And then one for the ignition, which keeps the car running, has an auto purge feature that the VO control system offers. Here's a mess of wires. It was actually quite easy to hook up because each of these little wires are labeled. They have text on them. It says like injection, like this one says return valve, and you just hook that up and works accordingly. My 3 valves are the Golden Fuel Systems valves. I have one here. This is the fuel in select. This one here is the fuel return select, whether it be looped on VO or passes through to diesel. And then this is my 3rd valve that purges the looped fuel back to the VO tank, and then after a little bit of delay, it continues on to the diesel tank when in diesel mode. We have a circuit breaker here, one for the VegTherm, and then we have a circuit breaker here for the injection line heaters, and then we have a fuse for the fuel select valves. The 3 valves go through a fuse, and this is for the ignition relay is fused. So everything's fused in this system, which is a good idea. We have a sight glass to time our purge time. Everything's pretty insulated. So in terms of the plumbing, back there you can't see it, is where the line is split out of the coolant back here, and then the hottest coolant from the engine heads towards the VegMax, and then that is put into a jacket so that the fuel is in a coolant jacket, and that goes under the car as such. Here it's kind of, I don't know if you can see it too. Oh, there it is. There, it's the insulated. It's hung there, and then transitions out here, but basically this is in a coolant jacket. And then on the other side, you can't really see it too well because it's all inclusive in the same jacket as the return coolant line. In this system, this Plantdrive system, my vegetable oil is in the main tank, and then the start and stop diesel fuel is in a donut tank in the trunk. So here's your classic donut tank in the trunk. Not much to explain. It's pretty self-explanatory. Line in, line out, and a vent. This folds down. What I did do is, because of these, this tank is a little bit higher than the actual tire, I had to cut out there's actually a piece that was over this. This was a molded piece. You can see the seam right here, but I cut that out, and then that just gives me a little bit more depth for this, since this is raised, to sit up inside that so that it's not so high, and this lays flush, because it was a little bit of an issue getting this. There's a hinge back there that getting this in. With this raised, it picks up the whole thing and kind of tweaks the hinge, but that helps it a little bit. But that's my start and stop diesel tank. There we go. That's kind of more or less how it sits now, with the diesel tank in the back. It is a little raised, as you can see. It isn't really the best system, but based on the tank that I have, it will do. So when I want to refill, I just do that, and then I do this and do that. So I really can't, and then I put up the little stick there to hold it up. But as you can see, I can't really have too much in the trunk, which is good, which I don't want to have anyway. A lot of junk in there. I still get used to this system. There was a system that I saw that that Plantdrive had in one of their cars, was this little black piece here. This little area here was a tank, which was really quite slick, and I think that was like a 10-gallon tank or something, and it was quite nice, but it was prohibitively expensive for me to get. With this system, there is no fuel gauge. I can just tell it's running low on fuel when it takes a couple tries to get started. Here we are inside the car, and this is the brains, the VO control. This is the display. If I turn this on, right now I keep it on diesel. Comes on as diesel auto, I guess. I just installed it the other day, so coolant temperature 77. Car isn't running, but once the coolant reaches 160, you can set it to any temperature you want. It'll switch over, and it turns on both heaters, the veg therm and the injection line heaters. But so far so good with this. There's another piece of this that this Ethernet cable attaches to that's up underneath the dash there, and that's where all the wires meet, and that's kind of the circuit boards, and the processing chip is in there. But right now I got to get a better system for mounting it. Right now it's just kind of jammed in there, and it kind of sits, but as you can see, this is kind of a problem. I'd love to put it up here, but I have my scan gauge up there. Might lose the scan gauge because this guy's giving me the information. I primarily got the scan gauge for the temperature, coolant temperature, but this gives me the coolant temperature that I need. This is how it normally looks with the cowling on. A little bit of a tight squeeze here. Should really technically trim that, but I'm going to let it go for right now. The only thing I need to do is insulate this guy for winter driving in some form, put some neoprene around it, and also the injection line heaters, which I forgot to show you, need to be updated to Viton type hosing. So there you go, that's about it. Hopefully I'll get more details in the how-to video of how I went ahead and did this.